Okay, here come the cattle. Boy, they're coming right at us too, Brian.
You don't need to worry, Huell.
Brian Kenny, this is your forte right
This is
here.
it.
Cliff and Ryan are on horseback and along with the dogs are driving the cattle toward us. Now, what are we looking at right here? This is kind of a continuation of a Hearst Ranch tradition, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. The ranch has been a working cattle ranch since 1865, and what you've got here are cattle for our beef program.
All right, let's talk about the beef program because look, they're coming right over to us right here. Here are the beef, and what's so special about this beef?
Yeah, well, Hearst Ranch Beef is free range, grass-fed, and grass-finished. So the cattle at the Hearst Ranch engage in their innate behaviors as free range foragers. They ambulate, they walk around and eat grass.
So this means free range. They're just out here in
Right.
the open,
Right.
a little minimum amount of fencing,
Right.
and they just range over this land and eat all they can eat.
They eat what they need. They eat what they need. And we operate in a scale of acres per cattle as opposed to cattle per acres.
Okay, so how many? You got 1,500 cattle here.
About that, yeah.
All right, and what makes this beef? You're growing and selling beef here. You're raising beef here.
Right.
What makes your beef different from someone else's beef?
Well, number one, it's grass-fed, so it has a different flavor profile than conventional beef. And number two, because the cattle are free-ranging, they're athletic. The beef's lean. The fat that is there has different flavor than conventional beef, and it has different health properties to it. It's a healthy beef.
Is this the same way? Because boy, when you look around here, this is literally like going back in time. Could we have been standing here and seen this same thing 100 years ago, 130 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the beauty of it to me. It's just a legacy. This has been the same way this ranch has been run for a long time.
Absolutely. And this, you said, now this pasture is different over here. This is called...
This is permanent pasture, so this is pasture that we water as opposed to the native grasses, which we'll see a little later.
Because looking out here, I'm just looking at the size of the ranch. The ranch is 80-something thousand acres.
Yeah.
Now, the cattle wouldn't go up on these hillsides,
Oh,
would
they will. Yeah, they will.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they're grazing everywhere.
Yeah, it's not as usable as flatland, but they will eat every inch of grass they can get to.
But now this grass isn't irrigated. This is just seasonal grass.
Right, right. So we've got both kinds. We don't have a whole lot of permanent pasture here, but we have a lot of native ground, and as a result, we have to run smaller numbers of cattle to keep everything balanced.
Yeah, because that's what I'm really kind of curious about. You've got 80,000 acres and you've only got 1,500, animals here.
Yes.
So you could have a lot more than that on a piece of land this size.
You could, but in our operating environment, you have to think about not only this year, but next year and maybe the year after, since we're in a drought state.
Yeah, so you're doing this in an environmentally
sustainable.
sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a conservation easement, so that's one thing that has a lot to do with how we do things. But secondarily, it's just a natural operating system, and we're certified sustainable by an outfit called Food Alliance, so our practices are monitored by third parties.
And looking at these cattle up close and personal, I can tell that they're stress-free, and that's something you're proud of, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. They lead a natural life, and as a result, they're under a lot less stress than you would have bunch of cattle piled up somewhere.
Yeah,
so.
You really made a big deal out of saying they were stress-free, and I kind of laughed at that. But this is a very important part of what goes on here at the Hearst Ranch.
Well, quality starts here. This is where quality starts, and the stress is a big part of it. And if you allow animals to engage in their natural behaviors, it's unforced.
Yeah, so these cattle are doing what cattle like to do. They're roaming out in the free range. They're eating all the grass they want to eat.
Yeah.
And they're not being stressed out.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't know how
That's right.
else to put it.
We could probably stand to take a couple lessons from that in the modern
Yeah,
world.
because look, let's take a look right here. This is definitely stress-free right here.
Yeah, that's Black Angus. Our cattle are primarily Angus and Hereford here.